Morning everyone. Today we are going to start about object-oriented programming in Java. Object-oriented concept actually we need to discuss. I'm sure that you must have aware about object-oriented concept because you all have studied C++ in the last semester. But still I want to just give you a go through just to get a refreshment about object-oriented programming concept. So, before starting this object-oriented programming concept, I just want to ask, like C was a procedural language. So why object-oriented came? The major purpose of object-oriented language was we need to focus on how to do. Earlier in procedural oriented concept, we uses the things what to do. So let's suppose if you have to develop a software, you do not need to worry about too much about the clients. You just need to develop the software. So just you need to focus on what to do. But object oriented programming focuses on how to do. Now how to do is a very small words. It contains various things inside it. So let's suppose there is a teacher coming inside the class and he has to teach you some subject. So the first what to do, what he will do, he has planned 40 lectures and every day he is coming and delivering a lecture. What is how to do? Let's suppose I am going to teach you a particular subject and I analyze in the first session that you require some more attention in this particular topic after analyzing all of the students who are seated inside the class. But yes, in third lecture, I think that yes, it is not required 1 hour. It can be, taught in 15 minutes. But in fourth lecture, again, I analyze it require more than 1 hour or 2 hour or 3 hours. So I have rescheduled my lecture plan by checking your knowledge level. Now tell me which one would be the better approach. First one or second one? Definitely you will think that second one is better approach because without judging you, how I can plan my entire session. So the first one was what to do, second one was how to do. And here what I am thinking new, I am just thinking of one thing new, that I have to think about the students who are seated inside my class. So who are students? Students are nothing but a object. So I am here student oriented. My sessions are planned as per the student oriented. So that is object oriented. So that is the purpose of object oriented programming, that we need to think about objects for whom I am going to develop this software, for whom I am working on it. So these all things we discussed in object oriented concept. So first of all, the first thing is object. So what is an object? Objects are the things which is physically exist, like you, me, table, chair, laptop, pen, page, copy, book, fan, chair. These all are objects. Now there is one more thing which comes inside the object is what? Objects. Once you define a class, you can define any number of objects and you can say objects are runtime entity. What is the meaning of runtime entity? Uh, your laptop will be available for the entire day, but will you able to attend the session entire day? Oh, that is somehow you can say that I can see the video of you and I can attend. But let's suppose if it is a physical class, the classroom is available for the entire day, faculty is available for the entire day, even you are available for the entire day. But when class happens, when you and faculty came inside the class, till you will not come or faculty will not come, class is not going to start. That is we faculty and students are runtime entity. Till you will not come, work will not execute. We'll discuss about object more. What about class? Class is nothing but a blueprint. Now there are two things we define inside the class. The things are what? Properties and methodology. What is the meaning of properties and what is the meaning of methodology? Let's suppose I want to create a class student. Now all students has name, roll number, age, address, mobile number. These all are properties. And what is the methodology? He attends certain class, he needs to write assignments, he need to perform certain duties. So these all comes inside the methodology. Let's suppose your mobile is an object, but for every mobile you need to create a class. What you will define inside the class? Either your mobile or my mobile. It has certain color, certain weight, certain screen size, certain keypad type. These all are the properties. And what are the functionality? When you dial a number and click on call button, the call has get connected. That is a functionality. When you click on a send button, message will going to be sent. That is a functionality of your mobile. And whatever the mobile handset you are using, this all mobile handset using these properties and functionality. Yes, the values are different. Now, a question in my mind that tell me, memory is allocated for what? For class or for object? Think, pause for 30 seconds and think. Which require the memory, class or object? Look, memory is required. Why? To put a value. I have created a class, name, roll number, age. Till a student will not come, which require the memory. Let's suppose a student is coming and telling name is Amit, roll number is 102 and age is 24. Another student is coming, Sumit, roll number 102, age 25. So memory is not required to class. Class is just a blueprint. Memory is required to object, and every individual object require a separate memory space, because every individual object has a different memory, require a different memory. And once we define a class, we can define any number of objects, but take care that these all objects should belong to that class. So let's suppose there is a class running of Java. Any student can attend this class, but that student must be enrolled for Java. A student who want to understand about compiler design cannot attend my class, cannot be the part of this class. Let's suppose you have created a furniture class. So table, chair, this bed, this all can belongs to a furniture class, but your mobile phone will not belongs to a furniture class. So once you define a class, we can define any number of objects, but this object should belongs to the class. What about data abstraction? Abstraction means hiding something from the user. And why we are going to hide? The major purpose of hiding is to make the things secure, as well as to make the things usable for the user. Look, let's suppose if you are thinking about a ATM, a lot of functionality is used behind it, but who is the end user of the ATM? Even a farmer, even a rickshaw puller, even a doctor, they are non-tech. From the computer science point of view, they are non-tech. And let's suppose if you are going to teach them that these all concepts are there, do you think that every people of India will use ATM? Definitely not. So till you will not hide the complexity from the user, the product is useless for the user. And definitely in any business, if your number of users is not going to be increased, you will lose that business. So how the number of user will be increased? When the complexity of the product can be hidden from the user. So, and the second thing is security. Definitely security is a major concern. So why we are hiding the data from the user? I just want to make it secure. I just want to make it more usable. What is the meaning of encapsulation? Encapsulation means when you are going to bind up properties and functionality inside a single unit. Now what is the meaning of single unit? Let's suppose your mobile has every properties, but you cannot make a call from your mobile. Let's suppose that is just a toy. Is it useful for you? Definitely not. A human body, when you are saying that he is dead, every property he has still his name, age, everything, but he cannot perform any task. So till the functionality is not added into a product, the product is useless. So if you will remember C language, there was a structure. So you were defining the properties over there also, but there was no functionality inside the structure over there. So that's why encapsulation was not there. So encapsulation means simply when you are going to add properties and functionality inside a single unit, that is known as data encapsulation. Inheritance. So inheritance, a single word you can define it, inheritance, as a reusability. What is the purpose of reusability? You just want to acquire the feature of a class into another class. Then you can modify it also. So you must have studied in C++ also. So when a class acquires the property of some another class is known as inheritance, and there are different kind of inheritance. And one thing you need to remember, Java does not support multiple inheritance. So there was 5 kind of inheritance: single, multiple, multi-level, hierarchical, and hybrid. These all are here except multiple inheritance. Java does not support multiple inheritance. What about polymorphism? So poly and morphous both are the Greek words. Poly means many and morphous means forms. So when a single thing is going to exhibit different behavior at different instance of time is polymorphism. The perfect example is our mother. She is our mother. She is the daughter of our grandfather. She is the wife of our father. Right? She is the sister of our mama. So this a single lady is performing different behavior at different instance of time. In the programming, you use a star b. Star works like as a multiplication, and you use int star a. Star works like as a pointer. So a single thing is performing multiple behavior. In C++, you must have studied about function overloading. So name of function is remain same, but their behavior is different. That is polymorphism. And the last feature of object oriented is message passing. Look, till the two objects will not communicate with each other, any work is not going to happen. And communication means not just talking. So let's suppose a fan installed in your home and there is a switchboard, and you are going to say to a switch that, hey switch, please open my phone. The fan will not start. For this, what you have to do, you have to on the switch. So there is a communication between switch and fan, and then the fan will run. So for execution of any task, two objects must be communicate, and how the two objects will communicate with each other is defined by message passing. So that is the object oriented concept, and you all are aware, you have studied in object oriented programming. Now let's directly forward to Java programming. So this is the first program. Yes, Java is a pure object-oriented programming language. So despite not like C++, you have to define everything inside a class. You cannot define anything outside from the class. So if you will see, I have created a class example, and everything whatever you will do, you have to do within the class. In Java, you cannot write anything after the class. Now, like C and C++, you all know that there should be a single entry and exit point, and after that you can create any number of function. In Java, same thing is here, but in C++, the syntax of void main was void main or int main, but in Java we write public static void main string, and then two square brackets opening and closing, and then args. Now everything has a special meaning, and in Java you have to write it. So for now, because we have just started it, for now you have to understand that we have to write it. This is just like as a void main of C++. Now, like C, printf, C++, cout. In Java we use system.out.println. Definitely everything has a special meaning. Why system, why out, why println, everything have a special meaning. So for now you have to just understand, you need to write hello, this following syntax what I have, and then in system.out.println, whatever you write inside the double quote is going to be printed as it is. So I have written here hello Java. Now what we need to do, the next step, we need to save our, we need to write it. We need to write it in Notepad or Notepad++. I am again, there are a lot of things, NetBeans, Eclipse. Many students has many question in their mind that why should I not use NetBeans or Eclipse. I said you in the very first session, if you are going to use NetBeans and Eclipse, your syntax will never be going to be strong. So if you want to strong your syntax part, you should use Notepad or Notepad++. Even I'll prefer to use Notepad in the initial stage of my study of Java. Now what you need to do, you have to save your file. Now in Java you need to remember that you should save the file with the same name as the name of class. Now I focused on should word, means can I save my file with another name? We'll discuss it gradually, slowly and slowly, that why I'm telling that you should save the file with the same name as the name of class. For now you have to take the name example.java. Now there are certain points which is coming in my mind, where to write this program. You all are aware that I need to write it into the Notepad. Which software is required to run this Java program? Definitely JDK 1.6 would be the best for the learning purpose, but you can install 1.7, 1.8. JDK is a free software. You can go to the Oracle site and you can download it, you can run it. You just need to set the path, class path. So when I'll take the live session, most whenever your faculty, because this video is going in every section, so whenever the class faculty is going to take the live session, if any student is facing any problem in installation, please contact with that faculty also. He will definitely help you. Now the most important question, many students when I met, after studying the entire Java, they say that, sir, there is a big problem with me. When I ask what is your problem, he say that I'm really confused that where to use this capital word and where to use the small word in Java. Yes, that is a little bit confusion. So today I'm leaving this question on you, and in the next class I'll discuss about where to use this capital letter and where to use the small letter. Still I am telling you, just this is a very basic thing. You need to explore that in Java, where to use capital letter and where to use small letter. Rules for writing Java program. Definitely Java is a case sensitive language. Java is a pure object oriented language. Whatever you are going to define, you have to define within the class, and extension of Java program is .java. So when you are going to create a program in Java, you need to save the file with the same name as the name of class, and the extension should be .java. And wherever you are storing it, then you need to open the command prompt. Your Java should be, JDK should be installed in your computer, your class path should be set, and then you can run your program. So yes, we have already discussed that Java is a Java uses compiler as well as interpreter both. So first you need to compile your program, and then you need to interpret your program. So when you compile your program, what happens? A class file gets created. What is a class file? It's a bytecode. And then you need to interpret your bytecode and you will see the result. So in the next session we'll discuss about all the things. So thank you very much for the today's session. Thank you.